Om Dhanvantare Nama, Shri Gurubhyo Nama. Namaste, and a very warm welcome to webinar series on Ayurveda practice, organized by Ayuryana. Myself, Dr. Jaikumar Matad, pleased to be host for today's session. I heartily welcome Dr. Chaitna, co-founder of Ayuryana, and today's guest speaker, Dr. Sugnana VS, and all audience to today's session. Ayurveda is a platform offers a unique blend of health-focused education activities and sustained tourism. It's inspired by the timeless principles of Ayurveda, thread moral, cultural, and traditional values into every experience, creating a rich tapestry of heritage and wellness. Webinar series on Ayurveda practice is a free webinar series. The motto is to empower the Ayurveda fraternity to excel in clinical practice and sustainability through innovative approaches in Ayurveda entrepreneurship. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Dr. Sugnana sir. Sir is from Beltangadi, currently working as Associate Professor in Department of Samhita and Siddhanta, Prasanna Ayurveda Medical College, Beltangadi, Dakshina Kannada. Our esteemed sir is here to guide us through the common difficulties Ayurveda students encounter while studying Samhita, a fundamental text that often challenges a grasp. I once again welcome you, sir, and the mic is yours, sir.
Thank you very much for having me here today. So I have been given few questions here. So if you can display the PPT, I can. Yes. Um, so I'll be answering few questions which is given by Ayuryana. And first of all, I'm thankful to Ayuryana for having me here. Um, now, first question is, what is the easy way to start Samhita reading? Now, that's an interesting question, actually. Easy way to start, but I would like to frame it in the way that what is the right way to start Samhita reading? Now, we have like Vedanta, where there is a description of Anubandha Chatushtaya, which says that if someone want to read any particular book, or actually Samhitas are supposed to be read continuously, so there should be kind of an inspiration to read that. Now, to get that inspiration or to connect that person who is reading and what he is reading, that connect to happen, there should be uh, one should understand about Anubandha Chatushtaya. Now, by Anubandha Chatushtaya, what happens is that person will be connected to that particular Shastra or that particular Grantha. Once connected, usually that will keep him inspired to read entirely. Now, what is this Anubandha Chatushtaya? We have Adhikari. Adhikari is one who is actually want to read that particular book. So that's the Adhikari. And we have Vishaya. Vishaya refers to what are the topics that is being written in that particular book, or what are the topics that is being written, or the objects. Then there is a prayojana, that is what is ultimately the prayojana of that particular grantha or the shastra. And there is sambandha. Sambandha is that grantha and that vishaya. In between that, what is the relation between them? Like whether, say for example, I will take Ayurveda grantha as point of view. So if somebody, say for example, the viewers, if you want to read Charaka Samhita, then the objective, or to say the prayojana of this entire shastra is dhatu samhita, right? So that is the prayojana. But what exactly Charaka Samhita speaks about? Charaka Samhita speaks about that becomes a grantha which is having a vishayas like hitayu, sukha, hitayu, ahitayu related matters are mentioned, so that you can achieve that dhatu samhita. So the Vishaya is the Hita Hita Rupa Ayu related informations. Now there is a connection between Charaka Samhita and that matter. Only when that connection is known to the person, the Adhikari, only then he will read that to get that particular prayojana. Otherwise, the person will not get inspired by one time he may read or she may read, but Samhita to read, one should get inspired by the like why exactly the person is reading it, or to understand like every matter to be understood. Then this is not a one time process, right? So it's every day one should be reading it. We'll go through that part also, like how many every day how much one should read it. Now, once this person is get inspired, now what is the process of doing this? First, one should find a teacher. Anyhow, you have already selected BAMS as a course, so you already have a teacher for Samhita. So once you learn from some Samhita from teacher, that's not it, right? So what Vimanasthana says is, once you learn from the teacher, guru, uh, uh, after learning it, there should be a Shastra Dridata should happen. Shastra Jnana Dridata. Dridata, they have used the word. That Dridata, there is a commentary by Jyotish Chandra Saraswati. He says it is Punaha Punaha Anushilanena. That is, Punaha Punaha Anushilanena refers to Abhyasena Dridata. So one will attain the Shastra Jnana Dridata only by repeatedly going through that particular path. Um, Now, once that dridata has happened, that is Shastra Jnana has happened, the next step in that Shastra Jnana happens, what is it mentioned in the book? That's it, it's the Shastra Jnana. Now, once the Shastra Jnana has happened, it is told that Abhidhana Saushtava should happen. That is, what is the intended meaning of that Tantra Karta? Tantra Kartur Abhipraya. So you should reach to Tantra Kartur Abhipraya. That is, what is the Samhita speaking about? See, we can see that many people interpreting same line into different understandings of that particular line. But our idea is to get the intention of that author, right? What exactly Agnivesh wanted to say. That is what our intention, or what exactly Atreya wanted to convey the meaning. So that is what we are supposed to understand. That's called Abhidhana Saushtava here, like intended meaning we are supposed to get, not just Shastra Jnana, its intended meaning we are supposed to be getting. That's this next step of it. Once we get that intended meaning, the next point in Vimanasthana they mentioned it, Arthasya Vijnana. So whatever the meaning intended meaning you have got, it's a practical application in the clinical practice. What is a Vijnana? Arthasya Vijnana. You should apply that, like how I can apply it in the real life, right? So that's the part of Arthasya Vijnana. So when we read Samhitas, we should go through in all these aspects, and that's not the end line. It is mentioned that Vachana Shakti should also be gathered. Now, how Vachana Shakti? Why Vachana Shakti? First of all, Vachana Shakti refers to you should be able to tell this to another person. Usually, uh, whenever we read something or whenever we learn new thing, we are supposed to share it with somebody, right? So when you share it to somebody, you will frame it in a right, and you try to frame it in a right way. So whatever the idea you have from that particular book, you try to frame it with a language. Now, if you are able to do that particular task, then you have a Vachana Shakti. Now, it is one of the somebody told that uh, once you understand something, or if you cannot tell something in a simple language, actually you don't know that particular topic. That means if you know that particular topic very well, then you can frame it, like you can explain that to simple ways. Some people, when they don't understand something, they make it complicated, like to explain, because they don't know it. If they know it, they can convey it in a simple sense. Now, Vachana Shakti is most important in this context to actually to convey the information to patients, because whatever you have understood from the patient, you are supposed to convey to the patient that this is what is required to you. Like this is what the patyas you need to follow, and this is what apatyas you are not supposed to follow. So that Vachana Shakti should be present. If you cannot convey that patient, that will be a problematic. Even though you know all these process, but if you cannot convey it to the patient, that will be problematic, right? So now, usually when we read some samhitas, we get like one or other way, the words will not be understood clearly. Sometimes Chakrapani may explain that. Sometimes another commentary may explain it. Sometimes they won't explain that particular word which you wanted know in a clear way. So usually you need to go through some dictionaries. There is one dictionary in the Sanskrit to Kannada dictionary, Shabdartha Kautsuba, the 6 volumes, small book, but it's a good book. Like each and every word in Sanskrit has been translated there. So that's a good book to look into, and along with the Shabdakalpadurma, etc., which is available online also. You need to point like whenever we read something, we try to convey it. See, as I said, first we need to understand it from teacher, then dridata by repeated abhyasa. Once abhyasa is done, understand the meaning of that, intended meaning of that particular thing, then practical applications, and then convey it to another person, right? So when you convey it to the person, you will understand it better usually. Now that is about how to go through these samhitas. Now usually the next question that we have is how many hours should I read Samhita per day? Now, I will connect it to the earlier question to this. Now, when we read Samhita, we should not fix a time for this. Uh, uh, when we read Samhita, first of all, we should complete at least a chapter. Uh, now, why I'm saying so? Chapter. Um, if you give a break in between the chapter, usually we will miss that connection between the earlier part and the later part. Uh, I'll give an example why earlier days this chapter was specifically made as such. There is a Vaisheshika Darshana, in Vaisheshika Darshana, Vaisheshika Sutra written by Kanada. In that chapters, there are actually adhyayas, 10 adhyayas we have. These 10 adhyayas are made into ahnikas. Two ahnikas make it into a one adhyaya. So totally 20 ahnikas we have. Now, ahnika word refers that in one ahani, that is one day, how much you are supposed to read. Now, one adhyaya should be completed in 2 days, that is two ahnikas. So, in 20 days, you are supposed to complete Vaisheshika Sutra. Now, if you take Charaka Samhita, we don't have that ahnika anyhow, but we have adhyaya. If it is possible to you, you should complete entire adhyaya one day. Otherwise, there is a problem in like connection. If there is possibility that there are some big chapters we have, so at that time there is bit difficulty. Now, for that solution could be you study. Say, for example, you completed 50 shlokas. Now, the next day, when you are starting 51st shloka, you should go back to first shloka and just summarize whatever you studied in the previous day, and just summarize things and then go to the next. Otherwise, the connection will be lost. Most of the time, this chatushka, so it is better to cover a chatushka in a day actually, because that hope you know about chatushka in the Sutrasthana. So if you complete that chatushka in a day, that's a better way. But we will at least adhyaya should be covered in a day. So instead of hours, we should think in the matter, how much matter we are supposed to be learning. That would be my suggestion to students. Um, yes, and we'll go to the next question. That is, yeah. So, does the description given in Samhita is scientific and evidence-based? Okay. Now, this is interesting actually. Whether the given information in Samhita is scientific or evidence-based. Now, our idea of like some, I remember actually some eminent scholars of Ayurveda some years back, they were discussing about whether Ayurveda is science or arts. Some are saying that it is a philosophy, and the other one is speaking about it as a science. They had a conflict, but I understand that whatever it takes for a dhatu samya, we take it all, whether it is arts, whether it is science, whether it is puja, whatever it comes, we take it because our ultimate idea is to get to dhatu samyata. That's our prayojana, right? So we want to do that. So we will take anything that is possible. Now, whether it is scientific or not, our scientific ideas should be on the basis of the, see, we have an idea, we have a some siddhantas, we know that it is bahuvida parikshakaihi, different kind of a parikshakas have already examined it and come to a conclusion. So we accept it as a truth. Now that's an idea, but the language may change. That means, say, for example, whatever I'm speaking right now, I have an idea. I can speak in English or I can speak it in Kannada or whatever the language I know. That language may differ, but idea is the same. So whatever the ideas the Samhita is having, the tattvas what they're saying, that could be that could be understood in a siddhanta way or in a scientific way what you are speaking about. Now I'll give this. Hope it is visible to you. This is speaking about. I'm just giving one example of this. How scientific process can be understood, helpful in understanding the Ayurveda. So that will connect you to the question. Uh, the Kushta, we will take Kushta as a disease, and Kushta it is understood as a Shonitaja Roga. Under Shonitaja Roga, we get one of the disease as a Kushta, that is mentioned in Charaka Samhita, and Raktaja, the same thing. Raktaja Vyadhi is also they mentioned the Kushta as one of the Vyadhi, and we have that in the Kushta Adhyaya also there are Sapta Dravyas mentioned, and Shonita is one of them. And we know that for Shonita Vahasrutas, Mula is the Yakrit. Now, Yakrit as a Mula, so Rakta Dushti is happening and Kushta is manifesting. Now, look at our scientific understanding of Ayurveda as how they understood this. When you look into Kushtagna Mahakashaya, yeah, that's better. Kushtagna Mahakashaya, Khadira. See, one of the drug is Khadira. And when you look into this, the scientific validation is it is a hepatoprotective in nature. So they mention it as a yakrut is the moola for the Shonita Vyadhi. And actually, whenever we get the Kushta, we think of a Shonita Prasada kind of medicines we prefer. So look at this Khadira, which is having a hepatoprotective activity. That's different article which is supportive of that. Not just one. We have Mahakashayas 10. Look at Abhaya. Abhaya is also having hepatoprotective activity. You look at this Amalaki. Amalaki is also having hepatoprotective activity. And look at Haridra. It is also having hepatoprotective activity. Same way to the Bhalataka also having hepatoprotective activity. Saptaparna is having the same effect, and as well as the Aragvada, right? And Vidanga also has got a hepatoprotective activity. Karavira also have the hepatoprotective activity. Jati is also having all 10 drugs of, I mean, whatever they mentioned as a Kushtagna Mahakashaya, all 10 of them are having hepatoprotective activity. Look at the scientific evidence what we have. They consider shown it's a Shonitaja Vyadhi and it is having a root in the Yakrit, and we have all 10 drugs which is mentioned for Kushtagna, as a Kushtagna is having the hepatoprotective activity. So by this example, I'm justifying that it is scientific and evidence-based. Now, how we want to do a research that should define what. See, we should not find out what whether it is anti-inflammatory or all those kind of whatever the drug is mentioned. Instead, we should support our ideas with the language of the present day, that is scientific evidences. We should support our ideas with the scientific background. Yes. Now coming to the last question of, I think it is the last fourth question. Sorry. Why did the acharyas use exaggeration in some contexts? Now that's interesting. Many areas we find that some kind of exaggeration we find in some areas. Now again, as I said earlier, arts also plays a role. Now this is atishaya, we say, like atishaya in the sense atishayokti we say, right? When something is exaggerated, usually gets an attention of the student. Like, how come this happens, right? So that attention itself is needed in this context. So one is attention, the other one is a memory. You never forget that particular exaggeration, whatever they made. So it is to make that kind of an what is the attention. I believe that is the intention behind doing that. Same some rasayana they mentioned 1,000 years they will live. That is not an intention. 1,000 when you say you will be get surprised by that, but its intention is to say long life they will have, right? So That's an exaggerated, what do you say, context. Certain context we find that, uh, but that should be taken as a art of writing the poetry and all, right? So the last question is: does Samhita reading promote clinical practice-oriented knowledge? Right. So I think I took a little more time now. Now, does Samhita reading promote clinical practice-oriented knowledge? It is evident that it is so. Now, let me give you, I believe this is not visible to you. I'll give the context. This is Charaka Samhita's Arsha Adhyaya. Okay. If you want the page number, I'll just tell you. It is 506. Yeah, 506 onwards, 506 and 507. Uh, See, this is the Arsha Adhyaya where you have one Aushadhi called Takrarishta. And in the next two pages, actually, you have Abhayarishta. Now, two Arishtas, both are mentioned in the Arsha Adhyaya. So, some may go for a research saying that which is more effective. But if you are knowing the Samhita very well, you will not go for such kind of a research. Why? Because we need to find the context of this. If you don't read Charaka Samhita properly, say for example, if you look into any medicine Arishta related books, they will only give the falashruti of it. They will not give the context of it. Now, if you have read this Samhita properly, what happens here is there is a line. They say, I have highlighted that in red actually. Ityukto bhinna shakritam arshasam cha kriyakrama. So you can see it in the left corner. That is what is written. Ityukto bhinna shakritam arshasam. Uh, Sorry, that is not the line. What they have mentioned here is तत्र शुष्क अर्षसां पूर्वं प्रवक्ष्यामि चिकित्सितं. That's what it is mentioned. It's not visible to me clearly. That's what it is mentioned in that line. Under that we have takrarishta. Okay, so the treatment is about shushka arshas, and under that we have takrarishta. See, look at the next page of this takrarishta. It says इति उक्तो भिन्नशकृताम् अर्षसां च क्रियाक्रमः. That is, right till now, whatever we discussed is about the bhinna shakratam, that is shushka arshas, and not the ardra, not the bleeding kind of arshas, shushka arshas. And in shushka arshas, bhinna shakratam, when there is no constipation as such, and the mala visarjana is happening freely, in such kind of case, takrarishta can be given, right? So, and other formulations can be given. The very next line, what they say is, ये अत्यर्थं गाढशकृतां तेषां वक्ष्यामि भेषजम्. That is, here onwards, I will be explaining about in the case of a Gadashakrat, what should be the treatment. That is to say, Shushka Arshas and having the Gadashakrat. In that context, they have given the formulation like Abhayarishta. Now, by choosing in the Arshas especially, when you choose Abhayarishta or Takrarishta, you have a clear-cut differentiation that in case Bhinna Shakrat, you should go for Takrarishta. In case of a Gada Shakrat, you should go for Abhayarishta. If you don't read Samhitas carefully, you will miss this kind of adhikaranas. So that may go for a wrong kind of a clinical interpretations and go for even in a Bhinna Shakrat, you may give a Abhayarishta, and in a Gada Shakrat, you may go for a Takrarishta. So be careful about it. So it is so by this, hope you will be learning Samhita carefully here onwards, and with you have some inspiration to read Samhitas. Thank you for the opportunity given by Ayuryana. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Suljana sir, for wonderful session. The insights shared were impressive, empowering, motivating, inspiring us to think in new directions. Dhanyawad to each and everyone.
Thank you.